Alright guys, we are here with the Team Covenant Summer Top 8 Game of Thrones. I guess this is I do want to say championship. This is the final match. It has come down to final two players. And I just so happen to be one of them. My name is Steven.
My name's Robert.
Hi Robert. And we also host the Two Guys One Throne podcast on teamcovenant.com. You can check us out there. And this is a long, hard-fought day. This is the top 8 from 8 weeks of tournaments. The first-place finisher or finisher that was under an unqualified first-place finisher went ahead and got a slot in the top 8. And now all of those matches, these top 8 matches, have been played out, and we are here in the finals.
Yay!
In the finals. So
it's a long road.
I'm over there on the right side with a Greyjoy Summer deck. Basically, realizing that the one thing Greyjoy needs is card draw. How can you get it? Knights is one way, and we have one. And then Summer is another way. And
is there really one knight in Greyjoy?
There's one knight in Greyjoy.
Good
and
Lord.
You know what his name is?
The Knight. Yeah.
Yes. So it's aptly named. But then Summer actually works pretty well because not only do you get the Kings of Summer agenda, but you also get Gilly, which is a nice addition to the Greyjoy arsenal. And perhaps even cooler is you get a Theon Greyjoy that is often overlooked, the one who can stand a Greyjoy character in Summer. So I'm running 3 of him in this deck, and you'll get to see him this game as I remember. Zach is doing his Targaryen Hollow Hill build, an earlier version of the deck he took to Worlds, and then later won the Valor Westis tournament with December 8th. 2012. So this is an awesome deck. Zach has been tweaking this deck for a very long time, and even to this day, the date of this recording, it is a fierce force to be reckoned with. Quite a bit different than a lot of the variants of Hollow Hill out there, Brunos and that kind of strain of control. It's all about hand and street waves and long lances and jumping stuff in. Zach is just straight up all about the burn, killing everything and doing what he needs to do. So let's look at the setup here. Against Hollow Hill, I dropped Farwind, 3 cost. Non-nobles cannot be reduced. Love that guy. Carrion Bird, 1 cost, 1 strength. And the Island Refugee at 2 strength. This is a perfect Hatchling's Feast for Zach. I don't know if he takes advantage of it or not, but the old 3-2-1 here is horrible for me. But then also the Captured Cog, which is going to be an important key in this game, I think, because Hollow Hill already has that +2 initiative canceled, and we can kind of compete on equal terms there. So, Robert, what do you think coming into this game? We do have some nice hand cams going on. You can see the plots that we're deciding on. Looks like I've got Retaliation at the gate. It's Time for Ravens, Valor, Song of Summer is in there, Fear of Winter, one of my favorite restricted cards. And Zach's going to just Dragon Thief, maybe drop it something in for a little pre-plot, rule by decree shenanigan play.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's what he's going to do. So pre-plot, spends 2 influence, any phase action to ambush in the Dragon Thief. No attachments to remove, but that gets 1 card out of his hand. And if you're playing Game of Thrones today,
you know what that means.
You know it means that the rule by decree is coming. I look in my hand to see if I have any kind of answers for that. I do not. So I'm going to be losing 3 cards straight off the bat here. What do you think about that early turn rule by decree? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
I like it. I understand why it's effective, why people do it, and all those kinds of things, but I don't necessarily agree with it across the board, because I think that rule by decree is perhaps a plot that is better used later. I'm sure there are people who will disagree with that, because there's nothing like taking the gas out of the tank early in the game. That is the first turn. But it's just, to me, a little janky. That's a personal take, but again, I kind of like to imagine that the effectiveness is greater later on when they've really drawn into a bunch of stuff and you're discarding not just 3 cards, but maybe 6 to 10 or something like that. It can happen pretty easily these days.
There's certainly a lot of ways to run it, and I think it depends on who you're facing too. Greyjoy, Zach played Greyjoy a million times. Probably not going to see a whole lot of cards. So it makes some sense that get those cards gone early, and then I won't have a hand to work with on this first turn and turns thereafter. But there is something to be said for the late turn, or the late game rule by decree, of course, as well. And it's just a solid plot at 4-4-1 anyway, so you get a sweet 4 goal. It's a very safe opening. And in the case of Zach's deck and in a lot of these Hollow Hill decks, it makes a lot more sense that you can actually get somebody on the board with that influence. get that Dragon Thief out, have the board advantage that Holly Hill often kind of diminishes, and still get the rule by decree. So you get a little bit of the board, you take care of their hand, and it's a pretty great play. And I'm looking in Zach's hand. Looks like he's got King's Landing in there. Khal Drogo, of course, his favorite little jumper. It's the old Zach trick. And I'm just putting bodies on the table, but not too many because
he's going to burn them away.
I'm worried. You'll notice I didn't get Maester Windermere with that at the gates, which is the usual play, because Maester Windermere against burn is completely useless. So don't ever make that mistake. However, Maester Mirrormere is quite worthwhile.
Yeah.
Canceling an effect in the marshalling phase is always good, and Zach's got tricks that can certainly be used in the marshalling phase, and I don't want to suffer them.
And so going into all this, are you expecting that it's going to be the standard slug? Because Zach is somebody who you've played a huge number of times. Same with this deck in particular, but this one is relatively new for you. So are you expecting that it's going to be the classic slug match where it's just going to be a contest of you hopefully getting more characters out onto the board than he gets burn effects into his hand and all that kind of thing?
Well, this is the first time I've played this deck with Greyjoy Summer. And what generally happened in the old games against Holly Hill Burn, it was really frustrating, is you would have the typical Greyjoy open. Everything was great. You were overwhelming, had a bunch of cheap and effective bodies on the board. And you might get a couple turns of that, and you're really doing well. And then the threat from the north turn happens, or the big hatchlings feast. Stuff just gets burnt up, and the problem is that not only are you dealing with that, but you're eating the Intrigue challenge, usually on your way out. So your hand goes down, you're not getting any card draw. The only card draw you have is based on winning challenges, Longship Iron Victory. If you run Bay of Ice, Holly Hill is often getting the card instead of you. So it was really a bad deal. Now, this is the first time with Summer, so I'm hoping that the Summer card draw is actually going to increase my effectiveness here. Now, I played against Burn a whole lot, and the key is patience, patience, patience. Don't play out your entire hand. You only need the characters that you want out at that time. Don't put anything out that you don't actually need, and play it very patiently. You're gonna look like you're losing this game for a good majority of it, and sometimes that continues until Zach gets to 15. But sometimes he kind of chokes up on his card draw too, and then it's a lot nicer of a match. You can kind of pop back out.
And what hope do you have of messing with his card draw effects? Generally, he's kind of reliant on his King's Landing to start getting more cards into his hand, and if you can get that out of the way, then you're way more likely to win. Do you run like Newly Made Lord? What are your anti-location effects?
Absolutely. In fact, this deck was originally an absolute location hate deck. That was the story of this deck. Condemned by the Council, Support of the Kingdom, Newly Made Lord, even Pyromancer's Apprentice early on in early versions. And I still have most of those elements in here. So locations, I noticed that locations was really the number one thing that was killing me. So I sought out to destroy all locations in the game. And it turns out Greyjoy is quite good at doing that. So hopefully I'll be able to take out his King's Landing when he drops it, and that's what I'm saving cards for. I also have Support of the Kingdom for red keeps and other influence providing locations, which really slows down these Hollow Hill builds. And it looks like -2 is coming from King's Landing Assassin, so it's going to kill Mirror. So again, we have our first burn right off the bat, and then both their Shadow Parasites get +2 strength. So you can see how already Burn can do just some nasty stuff with what appears to be really trashy characters.
Yeah, and he has a surprisingly large number of characters on the board. Usually he's only running about 2 or 3 at the most. 4 is a lot for this particular deck.
Absolutely. So he's going to come in on the Intrigue challenge here. 4 strength from the Shadow Parasites. Asha's certainly not going to block, and the Boat Swing goes, which is fine because he's going to have a lot of into shadows.
Now he has 5. What's going on?
Of course, right? So you win a challenge, you can put Khal Drogo in from your hand, so he's going to pretty much get any challenges that he wants. The Bay of Ice is going to be an interesting tangle here, too. I run Retaliation and Song of Summer, both pretty high initiative plots, so I'm hoping that I can get a few cards off of it. But it's always nerve-wracking to drop it against Holly Hill. All I need to see is a few Kingsguard fiefdoms to immediately regret that decision. Luckily for me, I don't think I'm going to see them, at least not yet.
Well, that's a blessing.
Yes, and maybe more of a blessing is there's no winter, and because of that, I'm really able to use these card draws. You notice I haven't gotten the Black Raven yet.
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to have certain tempo plays against Hollow Hill, and you can't spend the turn searching out and playing that Raven for your 1.
Now, one of the cards Zach likes to run here, and looks like he just did a military challenge against you. But one of the cards Zach likes to run is Favorable Ground. So, and that's going to, I think he spends 4 influence or something like that.
Only 3.
3 influence, and then he's going to discard all non-limited locations from play. How does that affect you with Bay of Ice, Capture Cog, all that good stuff?
It is devastating. That's exactly what it is. The good thing is that these Hollow Hill builds, Zach's in particular, runs really a pretty good amount of non-limited locations as well. Rhaenys, Tourney Grounds, some Lady Dany's Chambers, stuff like that. So he's going to hurt himself, but right now I'm really nervous about it because he doesn't have any really good locations out. So you notice I hit a military challenge through, and he blocked and then got rid of something. We've got the old Magi Crone out of his hand with the Intrigue challenge, which went unopposed, and then Farwind comes in for the power challenge to grab the power that Zach so heartily fought for there. Putting me at 3. I'm going to get dominance with the cog, and there we go, 4 power right off the bat. So it looks like a good start for Greyjoy, right? This can never go wrong. Then again, we know how these Hollow Hill games go, and so it often can and will go wrong. Zach's got a King's Landing there in Shadows, and he's looking at his plots. Notice he runs Valor and March to the Wall and Threat from the North. This is one of the strengths of the Hollow Hill decks. So many resets on top of all that burn. It's pretty much impossible to play characters, which is why card draw is so important, because you have to replenish your board every single turn.
And with burn already the MO of Zach's deck, how do you feel about... he obviously runs Valor, and you are running Valor as well. How does that impact essentially your long-term stability on the board to actually have enough characters out that you can get past his burn and all that kind of thing? Is it possible? You know, what's in your head that you have to do in order to overcome burn cards and then 2 Valors? Yeah,
already at this point, you have to plan for your 7th turn Valor, because there's probably not going to be a board that you want to Valor on the Hollow Hill side. If he drops Illyrio, maybe a few other really important uniques, it's a good time to Valor, but yeah, you can't really build the board up. About plot 5, you kind of have to let your stuff start dying and not wasting your time trying to save it to a plot that's going to chuck it all anyway. Of course, that depends on where you are in the game and what you need at the time, but generally that's kind of a rule. And that 7th turn just is horrible. You get no claim, you get no gold, and this is one of the great balancing factors of the Valar Morghulis plot altogether, is that sometimes you don't want to drop it, and yet here you are dropping it. And I think all of us have probably lost some games because we had to Valor ourselves. Is it more games than we've won because we had Valor in there? Who knows? In the meta right now, do you have to have Valor in order to make people think that you have Valor? I don't think so. But I can tell you that the number of games where I've had Valor and regretted it are a lot less than the number of games I haven't had Valor and regretted it. So I still think it's a strong play for the plot deck, but yes, it is certainly a concern. And we're still looking at plots. You notice this is a big part of any Game of Thrones game. A really intense moment here, especially I'm looking at my hand. I'm thinking I've got, 2 events? I think I caught a glimpse a little while back. 2 events, and then it looks like maybe a Baylor Blacktide. So already my characters are running up short, so I'm probably going to get Summer, because I'm going to start needing those cards really badly at this point. And look at Zach, considering he's got 2 3-strength characters, an Asha and a Farwind, and then a Carrion Bird.
And I'm assuming you're running Song of Summer?
Absolutely.
No.
Song of Summer against Burn is just fantastic.
How does that fit into your calculation in terms of when that needs to be played and all that?
It usually, I'm trying to answer his Threat from the North turn with Song of Summer. Right now, I don't even have the Raven, and it's not Summer, so I'm not going to play it yet. So this is the thinking going on. Get the Raven, get the card draw. That opens up the Song of Summer plot so that I can answer his Threat turn, or secure maybe some cooler and better characters that I want on the board. So you see, I was 1 turn late. He goes ahead and drops Threat. We're just going to get rid of that Carrion Bird right off the bat. And luckily for me, Asha is still okay, and I do get to get that Bay of Ice going on. So this is kind of... I'm first player, so this is kind of a refreshing thing for me. If Asha gets burnt down, I'm going to get to choose to have her discarded instead of killed. So she's still going to be available to me later in the game, which is important. Farwind is the same way. So looking through the deck, looking for that sweet, sweet Raven.
There it is. Oh, you passed it.
Sweet Raven.
How many do you run? 2?
I run... Let's see. 2, 3... I think I run 2, yeah. I run 2.
And what's your thoughts on how many Ravens in a season deck of any kind?
I think you do too. And actually, you know what? I don't think I want initiative here. I'm looking at this. I knelt the Bay of Ice, but I think Zach actually drew off of it. I wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
I don't beat 4, so hopefully he didn't. Actually, yeah, I don't beat 6, right? He's all hill. Sorry. 2 Ravens, and the Ravens plot is pretty much the thing. It kind of depends. I've run it as a 1-of if you don't really need it, and it's just kind of nice. You can run a 1-of if it's more kind of a foil to things. Like I've run decks where all you need Winter for is Wintertime Marauders. So in that instance, I'm going to run 1 Raven, probably the time for Raven's plots, and call it good, because I don't want to clog up my deck with a lot of stuff. But you kind of want to see the burden setup. It's really nice whenever you draw into that. You don't have to use that plot. You can use it on a Carrion Bird. You can just save it and not have to waste your plot structure on that early game. So I think 2 and the plot is good. A lot of people like Tarly Samwell. I'm not a huge fan, even though I know that he is good, and I have run him in some decks currently. But he can also just be a complete waste of time. So it's all a big gamble. It's all a big player style, I guess. But I would suggest 2 and the plot. It seems to work best for me.
Nice. So now that Threat from the North has been played, and like you said, you're a turn behind, are you going to nonetheless play the Black Raven now so you can play your Song of Summer later and get the card draw moving? Is it important to get all that in play and then maybe risk having an empty board with all your characters at -1 strength and then potentially going to be discarded here within a couple moments?
Absolutely. I think right now, we know how Hollow Hill works. There's not a lot of renown. There's not a lot of rush going on in this deck. We got to play fundamentals here, as maddening as that sounds. It has to be fundamentals. So I've got to establish my card draw. I want to establish my initiative presence as well. And then the board will hopefully take care of itself. I do still have a Valor. If it gets out of control, I can drop that, sit on my 3 cards a turn, maybe 4 with Captured Cog, Bay of Ice, and play the fundamental game, because I have to be able to chuck out enough stuff every turn to keep Zach on his toes and to challenge him. So Zach drops a Harried by Dragons, so that's going to do Asha nastily. There's another one.
See ya.
And there you go. And it's that easy to get rid of stuff in Hollow Hill Burn. What more do you need to say?
Not much. And Harried by Dragons is just crazy anyway, so...
Absolutely. It's one of the cards that's one of the reasons that I brought out Mirror and Mirror turn 1, is because you can cancel that response, which is going and searching for another one, and a lot of players will miss that. So Zach aptly got rid of Mirror and Mirror first, and then he is free to use his Harried by Dragons. And it does feel very appropriate that Harried by Dragons, I mean, you get to search it out, you have to play it during the marshalling phase as an attachment, and it feels like you're being harried by dragons. I really like it.
They just won't leave me alone.
So Valor comes out, which is actually a pretty risky move considering he's got 2 influence up and Threat from the North turn out, so all that he needs is a Flame Kissed or something nasty like that to make it happen. He goes ahead and plays Sorrowful Man, so I've got to pay him a gold or kill Valor, which is going to shut down my Black Raven. And I can't decide what I want here. It was an excellent play. Since he knew I had the Raven, he went ahead and busted Sorrowful on me. I'm really relieved, though, that is what he's using his influence for. That's going to mean that I can not worry terribly much about a Flame
What
Kissed.
is that card in Shadows?
What is that card? I will often ask Zach that and other players that. They rarely tell me.
If ever.
If ever, that's right. So this is an interesting turn here. Do you kill Valor and get the card draw? Do you actually play strong fundamentals here? Or do you maintain Valor and hold off card draw for yet another turn, which is really 2 turns because it doesn't match?
Let's see if your past self is in line with your present self in terms of that thought process.
New things have come to light, I've got to say. New things have come to light. Was not expecting to have to make this decision.
Fundamentals or board. Fundamentals or board. We'll see. Man, this is quite a little dilemma here for you.
It is a dilemma. I mean, look at what you have. If Baylor's gone, I'm looking at eating a first turn military challenge. Farwin's gone. My board is cleared. I play the Raven, so we come back next turn and I can Valor maybe, but it's just trash out there, right? There's a Dragon Thief, a King's Landing Assassin, a Sorrowful Man. Who cares?
I would like to point out that Zach, who's on the left here, of course, never crosses his arms unless he's pleased with something. That is not his I am assertive or disappointed or angsty about something. This is his I am very pleased with something posture. So he's taking a lot of joy out of this particular moment. And you're still thinking that this is totally interesting to me because you often don't get these kinds of like epic drawn out thought processes on just a single response. So this is really, really impressive.
That's kind of the tale of this game, to be honest. So I do let Baylor die.
Look at the consistency with past and present Steven.
Look at that. It's like the brain is the same. So we do go for Summer, wanting to lock that in and get those cards. Knowing that, I mean, if you look at that hand, right, I've got a Boatswain is all that I have left. So am I really better off next turn with keeping Baylor on the board, losing a Farwind, and hoping that it works out? I know Zach has burn. He can take care of Baylor anytime that he wants, so why not just make it easy on him?
Yeah. So here comes that Intrigue challenge.
Here comes the Intrigue.
Here it comes. 1. That was a
condemned by the council, which is a big pull.
Council.
I was holding that hopefully for the
military challenge. And he's got
pose
stealth.
And dead, and then the power challenge.
Oh,
so Zach,
did Khal Drogo not have stealth? Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually was able to oppose or not. Looks like he got his unopposed power. It looks like.
Okay.
So all good still, and hey, look at this. This is the terrifying moment against Hollow Hill. You know why? Because for the rest of the game, he's getting +2 gold.
Yep.
To your +0.
Yep.
He's getting +2 initiative, which I match him on actually with Bay of Ice, and he's got essentially an extra 2 resources of influence. So in these situations, it just becomes very difficult to envision how you can make a comeback. Zach thought I was going to Valor. He always plays Call to Court if he thinks you're going to Valor. But at the same time, he can also just pull a King's Landing.
It's crazy because he has more cards in hand at present. You're going to draw 3, of course, this turn, and then his board is ridiculous. Boom, there's Illyrio, and what was it that went back into his hand?
Illyrio goes.
Was it the Dragon Thief?
Dragon Thief comes out.
All right, and he's just got some good cards, and sadly, this is one of those matches where your Boatswain is going to be nigh useless because he's running a lot of Shadows cards, and then of course Boatswain usually at 4 strength, but is -2 strength for every card in Shadows controlled by your opponent. So that's just it's not good for you.
And you'll notice that Zach again got the card draw off of the Bay of Ice. I'm at, what am I sitting at? 8 initiative, +2 for the cogs at 10, 11, and he's at 7, 8, 9. So actually, I got the card draw. Excellent.
Yay!
Just kidding, everybody.
Fooled you.
So I did get 4 cards here. I got a Pyromancer's Apprentice, a newly made Lord, a Farwind, which is the last thing I want to see right now. And this is the moments when you're looking at this board and you're looking at your deck and you're like, I wish I didn't have Farwind as a dead dupe right now. But those games where you see Farwind and it shuts down entire builds because they can't reduce their characters, you're happy that you have a couple of Farwinds in the deck. So it's certainly a trade-off. It's always going to be a back and forth on what do you do in deck construction, just one of every unique, or do you include some you want to see more of?
Run a binder.
I like to include some that I really want to base a deck around and see more of. So Farwind fit the kind of denial theme that I was doing here. Helps with the location removal. And Zach drops a Rhaenys Hill. What I can imagine is a Rhaenys Hill, yeah.
Yes, it's totally Rhaenys Hill.
So you discard that, and he gets to pull everything out of my dead pile and put it into play on his side of the board for 1 turn.
Which is not good.
Not good at all.
Fortunately, he's been discarding more than he's been killing, so...
Fortunately, he has no gold.
Yes.
And I've got a Pyromancer's Apprentice.
Yay!
So we'll see if that's what I end up doing here. If I were playing this game right now, that's what me, Steven, would do.
That's right.
Whether that's what Screen Steven does, we shall see. But we're locked here at 4 and 4. Zach's got the board. We're about equal on cards right now. I've got a ton of location removal, which is actually not that useful. I've got Boatswains.
And a newly made Lord.
Boatswain doesn't do much for me here. He's at 2 strength, so he's just going to be kind of some fodder. Not quite the awesome force that he once was. I did go ahead and play that Apprentice down. Captured Cog actually is a huge play here. It's going to mean that I'm drawing 4 cards for the rest of the game and winning dominance every turn. So those little guys are just always worthwhile.
Watch out for that favorable ground.
Absolutely. And now we're coming in with a what I hope will be a Pyromancer's Apprentice. And I've got a big 2 claim, so beware of that. Boom.
Ding.
Rhaenys Hill. Look at Zach smiling.
You
He
thought it was
knows.
safe, yeah. Not today.
All right, so still a horrible situation here. He's got 2 influence on the board. I've got a 1 strength and a 2 strength character. It's like, give me a break here. This is going to be horrible. Bringing the Dragon Thief out to trigger Illyrio, which I'm assuming is going to punk the Pyromancer's Apprentice, which it does. See ya. You did your job. And I expect a board wipe here with the military challenge.
That's right.
Intrigue first, like a pro. Just in case I have a Risen from the Sea or something.
And do you?
No, of course not.
This is summer.
This is summer. Oh, and he pulls a newly made lord.
Ouch.
Zach.
Ouch.
Khal Drogo comes in. You just never really get used to seeing that, by the way, playing against it.
Khal Drogo?
Yeah, you never, it's like...
Oh, here he is again.
It's like, oh yeah, I forgot that you're even better than...
And this
once
is what
thought.
sucks, is that you put out your retaliation, and it essentially just went to waste.
Yeah, it
That
did
2
nothing,
claim,
yeah.
and ugh.
Khal goes back to hand. He can't be Valored. He's got 4 dudes on. I think I have to Valor here. I'd rather use it now than try to set something up and have to use it later. So you can see the orange background
Lurking.
right there. Right,
There it is.
goes right to
So-
the top.
so
Double check, but then
Before you were talking about that 7th turn Valor, what trumps this ultimately? Are you trying to kill Illyrio, or is just the board as a whole too bad, or what?
yeah, I mean, there's no way for me to recover here. He marched to the wall, so he can discard Illyrio. However, since I have the captured cogs in the Bay of Ice, I actually get to go first and trigger my plot first, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I remember that from this game. So I'm at 5 initiative. He is at 5 initiative, but he has more power than me. So I can actually trigger the Valor first and still get 4 cards on the Valor turn.
That's pretty good.
So that captured cog was a very big deal, and I'm starting to fill up my hand now. Does Zach wish he had his rule by decree? Who knows? It may get big enough where he does wish that. And I have one of my favorite cards in hand here, Seasick. I have to give a shout out to Nathan Bradley for convincing me to give it a try. And it does a lot for me. There's nothing better than the target player paying 3 influence for something, tapping all their influence out, and then getting it canceled. I can't tell you how much I love doing that. I really can't. I can't even express it. So anyway, the Valor happens here because the board, Illyrio is a big deal. I want Illyrio dead because he causes all sorts of issues. There was just too many characters for me to actually get running again. So now I've got the fundamentals, I got the cards, got the initiative. Now I don't have to worry about Valoring myself, so I can start to establish, hopefully, my board presence. Although on a 3 gold, 0 claim Valor turn, it's very difficult to do so.
Asha's back.
Asha comes out. She was discarded earlier, so that's all that I can play out here. And this is actually a pretty ballsy play for me. I don't really think she's going to live, but hey, we can try.
I don't think she's going to live.
We can try, right? What else do you do here? I probably, in retrospect, I should have played a boatswain or something. I'm wondering if I have something up my sleeve here to make things kick.
Seasick.
Seasick, perhaps.
You can just do that. So what's Zach up to? Oh, he's Dragon Skull.
Ooh,
Ugh.
1 strength Asha. See ya.
That is not good. So all he's looking for now is a Forever Burning. There it is. And she is now deed.
I can try to seasick it and get him to tap that influence, but why?
But is it worth it?
Is it worth it? No, probably not.
Because he probably has another one in his hand. He's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
See ya. That's Forever Burning is probably the last thing you want to cancel because he'll just get that back, and it's not a big deal to him.
So he kills Asha. Looks like there he goes. Here's the Dragon Thief, which is going to do an Intrigue challenge, which is going to trigger Khal, who's going to come out and then do a Power challenge. So, again, it has started back up, and he pulls the Seasick.
Ouch!
And then Khal Drogo comes in for a challenge
I would imagine power.
I stood him back up, maybe because I was offended.
Hey, wait a second.
Maybe not.
Don't challenge me.
Yeah, you can't challenge me.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
It's my Valor turn.
All right,
What
it's
do you
fine. Yeah. So Zach's sitting pretty at 11 power here. I am at 4 because of just 1 dominance.
King's Landing.
He may have land under
Drawn a
control,
card.
but I am definitely conquering the seas right now. 2 captured cogs, and King's Landing comes out. Here comes the card draw. Don't you just love it?
So was that the last card you wanted to see at this point was King's Landing?
Yeah, actually, because if you'll notice, Zach's hand is actually not terribly ample, and I would like for it to remain that way. Song of Summer versus City of Shadows. The Song of Summer is going to be my recovery plot. It's a 6 gold in Summer. It's going to draw me cards, so I'm going to get 4 cards and 6 gold, and I've got to make something happen here. Absolutely have to make something happen.
He only gets 1 card in Shadows. That's a pretty big deal for you.
Yeah.
Because that's that much less economy out of his City of Lies plot, which is one of the most cost-effective plots in the game. It is amazing.
And you'll notice I drew 1 card that people hate and that I happen to absolutely love. It's the Blackwater Raiders. And in a location destruction deck like this, it can be absolutely immense, as I hope you're about to see. You'll notice that I discarded the only location this game, Rhaenys Hill, into his discard pile. And Blackwater Raiders, when it comes out of play or into play out of Shadows, it actually can pull a location from your opponent's discard pile and put it into play.
Zach is immediately going to try to burn her.
Oh yeah, Gilly is doomed, but she's at 3 strength right now, so she's actually great. Exactly what I wanted to see here. Put the Raiders down into Shadows. It costs 2 to bring them out. They are quite expensive, but it's because their effect can be massive. Another Distinguished Boatswain, and look at that terrible Black Raven draw. But something that I do love, the Naval Escort. So from now on, I'm looking at least +2 strength to all my people, and that's a very big deal. Oftentimes, I will even use some of this in the marshalling phase just to prevent shenanigans. Don't know that I'll do that here, but I do like that just for those of you listening who have played some Greyjoy. It seems like a really good way to go sometimes. You can do it any phase. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So, with that said, when do you use Naval Escort with your characters? Is this something that if you're the first player, are you going to do it as your very first action in the challenges phase to try to get those challenges off before he burns you down, or what's your plan?
Against burn, you absolutely do it first thing. Every challenges phase, first thing. You have to do it. You lead with it because, if he drops a Hatching's Feast, if he drops a Flame Kiss, these things that you cannot respond to, you can't respond by pumping strength, so you have to do it early on. Against non-burn decks, oftentimes I will wait for opponents to miscalculate or to lose track in Naval Escort, and they'll often lose some challenges off of that surprise strength pump between defenders being declared and attackers being declared.
Sure.
So that's a very nice little trick, or even after defenders are declared. So there's a lot you can do with it. I think that card is one of Greyjoy's best, extremely versatile. The only issue with it in burn is that if I lose that Boatswain, I also lose the Escort, because a Greyjoy character has to be in play or it gets discarded. So it's actually at a pretty weak position right now. I don't know that Zach knows that about the Naval Escort. A lot of people don't know that about the Naval Escort. If I were him, I would immediately kill that Boatswain, so I didn't have to worry about the Naval Escort anymore. We'll see what he does.
So he is looking through his discard pile, but why?
Why?
Why would you do that?
He's probably thinking, I forgot to put that Forever Burning back in my hand.
Yeah, he usually can forget to do that. Actually, he's gotten a lot better. It used to be that Zach would forget that every single time, and he would make a big scene about it. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot again. But he's gotten pretty good about it, and it's almost like clockwork when he plays this deck these days.
Yeah, which it should well be. And I think Zach is in a weird spot here because he's not drawing into the influence that he usually does draw into. Now, his deck doesn't need a lot of influence. That's kind of where it's different than a lot of these hyper Hollow Hill decks. It doesn't need a lot. But I think you'd like to see some fiefdoms or a few other, maybe a red keep, a few other influence-producing locations, because he's been holding on to that Hatching's Feast in his hand for a very long time. So he's looking at his discard pile, likely because he's thinking about playing Lady Dany's Chambers here to get some attachments back in his hand. He's got Harried by Dragons, which is going to do him a lot of good here. It's a -1 strength in the marshalling phase. Not terribly effective, but good. Flame Kiss, -2. He can attach that during challenges with his influence, so it's a strong plot. And then the Rhaenys Turning Ground, -1 to attacking or defending character, -3 if he has more uniques, which he doesn't. Probably won't, because Gilly's bossing around out there. Also a Dragon Thief, and then finally Cal. So right now, you know what I want more than anything? I want to get Khal Drogo out of his hand with an Intrigue challenge. That would bring me so much joy, and who knows what will happen. One of Zach's really good plays here with the Rhaenys Turning Ground is kneeling to give a -1 to a character, and then ambushing in a Flame Kiss. That means he's -3 to any character with a kill effect. So Gilly's dead with that. Boatswain's dead with that. It's a good little play, and I don't know what he'll do, but I'm sure he's considering those options.
Yeah, this is a pretty protracted marshalling deliberation here, so we'll see what he pulls out with. I'd be, I don't know, remiss if I didn't think that playing Flame Kissed on the Boatswain is a good idea right now, but we'll see what he does, because I would just think that dropping that and then getting rid of the Escort is a pretty solid move now.
Yeah, very solid move, for sure. He could do any number of things here to neuter that Boatswain. Doesn't have a kill effect on all of the cards, but enough to where he could really do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's probably worried about my card in Shadows, thinking it may be another Apprentice, which means he'd have to hold gold if he does play out of location. I'm definitely not expecting the Blackwater Raiders.
No, nobody's expecting. It's like the Spanish Inquisition. Really.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know what? I have one copy in the deck, and I always see it when I want to see it. It's
your Hail Mary card.
It's my Hail Mary, and in my hand, I have tons of location removal units. I have 2 Support of the Kingdoms.
The Turning Grounds, the Danny's Chambers.
Yeah.
And
another Dragon Thief.
Dragon Thief. You just can't get rid of those. It's like there's always 13 on the board.
And he's going to pull, I imagine, a Flame Kiss back into his hand. Could be another Harried by Dragons, since he does have another one.
How can you say no to Flame Kiss?
Goes to Harried by Dragons, yeah.
What?
He's already got 1 Flame Kiss for this turn, so he's not going to ever have more influence than 1 Flame Kiss this turn. So
right.
I guess he doesn't technically need it, especially when he can attach a couple Harrieds to that Boatswain and render him completely 0 strength.
Let's see what he's looking at. He's fingering those Harrieds. Yep.
1 strength.
Here it comes.
And is it Gilly or is it the Boatswain? Is it Gilly or is it the Boatswain?
He's thinking. He's thinking. But I still have it like this.
Gilly. Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Interesting.
And I'm going to go ahead and pump her strength right there, +1 with a Naval Escort.
Nice. Was he expecting that?
I don't know. It hopefully throws off his calculations.
You going to pump her again?
That's the question. She's pretty much doomed at this point, so you don't want to waste it terribly much.
Is it now or later?
And he passes to me, and I pull out the Blackwater Raiders, taking control of huge play, dude. Rhaenys Hill. What does that do to a game?
It does everything you want it to do, which is the best part about it.
And Zach has got to be thinking,
oh snap! Here comes that Illyrio. Here comes that, and all this other things. So, pretty big deal. Look at all those locations. 5.
I'm feeling pretty hilarious right now. If nothing else, I'm happy to have at least made Zach feel weird. Have a Dragon Thief, Illyrio, and King's Landing Assassin all in the dead pile. Sorrowful Man as well. I'm going to go ahead and pump the strength. 2 characters, +2 is going to be Gilly and the Raiders. So go and say the gold. So Gilly's back up to 3.
Can't have the Raiders dying. Now, do the Raiders have no attachments or anything that'll help protect them from burn?
I've never read the card past that.
Past GG.
So now we're deciding on how to sort the gold. I think we're using gold as current strength right now as opposed to pumped strength. And this is often what we have to do against Hollow Hill, against burn, simply because it gets too darn confusing. It's like playing against an Asai deck. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Actually, this character is 5 strength. I know it's printed 2, but he's getting +1 here, and there's 2 cards in Shadows, and my Shadow Enchantress. It's like, just tell me what the strength is.
Yeah. So what is he going to do?
I mean, this is looking.
What is he going to do?
This is looking all right. Everyone's +1 for Song of Summer, so that's helping me out as well. Zach may have gotten himself into a situation where he can't really burn anything, and I'm sure that brings him great grief. To know that he can't burn as he would like.
Here's what you'd be getting.
I'm looking at his dead pile. He's really showcasing all his dead characters. See how good my deck is? Look what you can pull.
Yeah, that Illyrio is really what you want here. And then that Assassin. Although it won't get its effect because it's not coming out Shadows.
And the grand question is, when do you bust the hill? When do you bust the hill?
Right now.
It's a big play.
Right now.
I don't want to bust it right now.
Wait for his Valor?
Watching the game, I don't want to bust it. You can wait for the Valor. I don't need the board right now. That's the grand issue here. You'll notice the thing faded in and out a little bit. That's because we had to take like a 10-minute break to actually figure out whether or not Illyrio's trigger, Illyrio's responsible trigger off of each character brought in from Rhaenys Hill. And from everything that we find out, it actually does. So
that may or may not be true.
it may or may not be true. You know, Game of Thrones has some weird intricacies, but from what we could tell, you know, you can trigger the responses after the event
10
of
years
all
later,
these characters coming into play. You can respond to every instance of a character coming into play. So we ruled it that did indeed work. So cheers to that. Makes this an awesome Rhaenys Hill right now. And right now it's just kind of a jockeying tool, right? Because Zach doesn't know when I'm gonna pop it, and I don't even know when I'm gonna pop it. But it's good to have the assurance that you can really claim the board on any turn that you'd like.
And does Blackwater Raiders have stealth or anything? What's going on there?
Oh, you wish it did, but no, it has nothing.
Shouldn't every Shadows card have stealth?
Well, you think Blackwater Raiders, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's really stealthy.
Or
name.
deadly.
Yeah, something cool.
That sounds awesome.
And you're paying 4 for a 2 strength.
Or
2
I
icon.
mean, I could see it having renown too.
Conditional.
That's just a great name.
Blackwater. Give it stealth, guys.
Blackwater Raiders.
Maybe it does have stealth. Like I said, I never really read it aside from the location steal, but as I remember it has nothing going for it except for the location steal ability.
Well, that's good enough, especially when there's Rhaenys Hill.
Yeah, in certain decks, it definitely works. You can't rely on it to do the work on its own, though. It's you've got to pamper that card to make it anything.
Because it sucks when it's just like, Blackwater Raiders, I'll take your gold road.
Yeah. Which, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you know, first turn, maybe okay. You paid 4 for a +1 gold for the rest of the game and a 2-strength character. It's iffy, but...
I'll take your C. That doesn't affect my house.
I'll tell you what, man. Stealing things like Gaston Grey, the Scourge, I love doing stuff like that, so...
Yeah, any card with some utility rather than just a bit blank passive effect is really what you want.
Or I think I've done this once against a deck like this. I've stolen King's Landing.
What?
Yes. Which means that anytime they bring a card out of Shadows, I get to draw a card, more or less. So it's...
That's awesome.
Puts a bit of a kibosh on things. So it looks like I'm doing a challenge here. Don't know what
military.
type it is.
I think he just killed a...
military Dragon Thief.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he's got 1 card left.
Did I stealth anything?
I don't know.
No, I didn't. Because it doesn't have stealth.
I was yakking. And then here comes Gilly.
Gilly on the Intrigue. This is a big challenge. I have to get this challenge
You
through.
have not yet won an Intrigue challenge.
It has to be now. It has to be this challenge.
Because here we are, 40 minutes into the game.
It's a card draw. It's Khal Drogo. It has to happen.
Your first offensive Intrigue challenge. That in and of itself to me is mind-numbing that you're in as good a position as you are in spite of that.
Right.
It's crazy.
Zach just now got King's Landing going, and Burn really, I mean, funnily enough, burns through cards. You know, they have to consistently burn through stuff. So you'll notice he could, right here, ambush a Flame Kissed to Gilly, and then block with a Dragon Thief, potentially, to deflect that challenge. But I believe he's just going to eat it, because I think he wants to do the same in return.
I see.
Is he going to get the chance?
Which would be
And
tricksy.
Yep.
Oh, take it.
Do I get Khal? This is the grand moment. It's an unopposed challenge.
It's the one
Feast.
he wanted you to take.
The one card he can't even play.
Man, he's feeling good now.
Look at the other two. Look at the other two.
I know,
Khal
right?
and Flame Kiss, and I get the Hatchling's Feast.
It's like, I mean, he got super lucky pulling that Seasick out of your hand. And what do you get for it?
What do I get? Nothing. I did draw into a Bloodthirsty Crew, which is an excellent character, and I'll be happy to see him. But I do have Condemned by the Council, which is maybe the most important part about this. So I'm going to get to chuck a Myronese Tourney Ground, I imagine, or the Lady Dany's Chamber. I don't like the attachment recursion, especially with Flame Kissed in there. So I'm making the decision now which one is going to hurt me more. Looking at it now, I think I get rid of the Lady Dany's. But that Tourney Ground has come back to bite me so many times. I do know that his Illyrio is dead. Khal Drogo is about the only other
What's your
unique...
Shadows card?
Yeah, what is that? Tell me. Hey, what is that?
Oh, man. The things we do.
11 power to 5.
What would you really do if
rough.
somebody ever actually showed you what their Shadows card was or told
I'd
you?
be like, you shouldn't have done that.
We had an earthquake on Zach's hand camera.
All right, Lady Dany's goes to the discard, and this is actually, I mean, look at this, right? This is actually getting respectable. 3 characters out.
Boatswain.
Bunch of locations.
Watch out.
Card draw. Boatswain on the power challenge.
What's he going to do? What's he going to do? Is he going to... -1.
And
Frame kissed.
killed.
I don't know why he did the -1. I guess just insurance policy or what?
Yeah. And the boatswain's +1 for Song of Summer.
That's right.
So
Forgot about that.
get it. Kills the boatswain. Luckily, I brought the Blackwater Raiders out. He thought that was a Pyromancer's Apprentice, which is why he probably didn't burn it early. So it doesn't get rid of the Naval Escort, which is going to be a big deal here throughout this game. It's one of the greatest tools against burn to pump strength. In fact, as much as Greyjoy lacks against burn in the form of saves not working and that kind of thing, and boatswains getting -X strength.
They have plenty of pumps.
They have a lot of strength pumps, so they actually can counter it in their own little way quite well. And you find this kind of weird balance among archetypes in a lot of decks. Decks that you think would be weak against burn or other archetypes.
Quick water break.
Actually have some things that they can play against them. So it's going to go over to Zach's challenges. And he's got to determine whether he wants to do a military challenge or an intrigue challenge. And that's
Tough call.
Be a tough decision.
Really tough. Because, let's see, where is he at? He's at 11 power. So that kind of begs the question of what's important not only with this character but with Cal. Is he going to go for the power challenge, which he'll get unopposed, or is he going to go for a military challenge and an intrigue challenge with the Dragon Thief?
You never quite know.
It's really a pickle. That's a pickle.
I think, in his instance, I would do he can try to push for the win here, or he can try to gain control.
Do we know what plot we're on?
I think we're on plot 5.
Yeah,
I think there's 2 plots left. Dragon Thief, if I shuffle my cards, it's an intrigue challenge. If not, it is a military challenge.
No shuffling has commenced.
Not yet.
Unless he hasn't declared yet.
Not yet.
He's fingering his unopposed power while he's deliberating what type of challenge it is.
That's right. And I'm looking, that's...
All right,
yep,
military.
And Gilly's going to go. You know why? Because you can't nurse Gilly along with 2 harried by dragons for the rest of the game. It's just not going to happen.
So here comes that power challenge.
Power challenge. -1, +1.
So he is now at a whopping 14.
12.
12, excuse me. Wait, he
should go to 13, 14, yeah.
Yeah.
He should. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. Maybe I'll ambush something in. Just kidding, of course.
Thank the Lord for your captured cogs. Otherwise, that 1 gold would give him dominance.
Absolutely.
It's crazy, man.
And so I've got to think right now, I have a chance to kill Khal Drogo with Rhaenys Hill.
Right.
Do I do it, or do I let him jump back in next turn? And I go ahead and take the power challenge unopposed. So 14 to 5.
A razor's margin here.
Where's your Winter Festival when you need it, right? Where is it?
Oh, man, that's hilarious. If only. If only. Now, we actually had a discussion about those plots that give you power in the plot phase as a when revealed action. In situations like these, and I've seen so many of them, have you changed your mind? Because you said, no, don't run them. They're ultimately useless. I really don't know what to think or what I think. Has your opinion changed in light of what you're seeing right now?
Well, just real quick, this is an interesting plot thing that's happening. Zach's mimicking his put 2 cards in a Shadows City plot, but really he only wants the 2 claim. I do first snow and winter because Zach's been dropping nothing but chuds the entire game. So the hope is that they will go back to hand. I've got a 4 cost, essentially, Blackwater Raiders out there. I'm hoping to maintain some board presence here, and that was kind of I think I can prevent him from winning the game with first snow. So it's an excellent plot. Thank you, John Bruno. As far as power gaining plots, I think the instances in which they are useful to you are ultimately instances where you're going to win 90% of the time anyway. So like in this instance, Zach could have won on a Winter Festival, but in all likelihood, he's going to win anyway, right? So the utility that you gain from having control-y plots that are going to help you in more universal situations than just the one game where both the people are at 14 power, is definitely worth running the control-y plots. Now, this is a huge mistake that just happened in this game, and it drives me crazy, puts kind of an asterisk on this thing. I just played Captain of the Iron Fleet on a Bloodthirsty crew. The reason that doesn't work is that it is a unique Greyjoy character only, which in the rush of the game and also just the us having played for so long and being tired, you miss stuff like this. And that's bad for me to do. we both read the card, so we both missed it, and it's just kind of really sad that this happened.
And now you'll never catch it because it's hidden behind that.
That's right.
Crew.
That's right. And I was very antsy again. We're starting to get sloppy here. Zach tried to play another limited card after he'd already played one. I actually messaged Zach that night, the night of this game, and said, "Oh my gosh, I just realized that I couldn't have played that Captain of the Iron Fleet on the Bloodthirsty Crew." He said there wasn't really anything he thought he could draw into that would terribly have affected the outcome of this game. So I'm hoping that's the case. But again, you never quite know. So we'll see how that plays a role in the game. And hopefully it won't be too big of a deal. So you'll see now that first known winner was a big deal. And this is my mistake here, actually. I should have pumped all three of those characters by +3, given the Dragon Thief +3, because he's bouncing back to hand anyway on that first snow turn. So Blackwater Raiders swings in, Dragon Thief bounces, and you'll notice Zach doesn't have very many cards. He didn't have anything that was under 2 costs or over 2 costs, so he couldn't play anything. So first snow turn worked here, and I'm going to get what appears to be a power challenge leading
It better be.
Yeah, and you'll notice I've been holding on Support of the Kingdom for forever, and I'm going to steal that Eastern Fiefdom. Hopefully that's going to prevent the Hatchling's Feast, which I'm very happy about. So Support of the Kingdom pays off there, and you'll notice this game is kind of turned around. It's in an interesting spot now. I'm going to swing with the Bloodthirsty Crew here on an Intrigue challenge.
Wait for it.
The Captain of the Iron Fleet, when you win a challenge, you can discard a kneeling location, and you can guess what I'm going to discard, which is why that misplay is such a huge deal. It's going to get rid of at least 2 to 3 more cards of Zach's card draw there, which is a bummer. He's going to ambush in Dragon Thief, choosing to discard Captain of the Iron Fleet, which is great. And we'll see what can be done here. And wait a minute, no, because yes,
because
no?
It shouldn't have been there anyway.
Yes, no. It's like, man, I wish that would have just gone through. Is there a cancel? Is there something that can affect that?
Not
or
sure.
I think no. Dragon Thief is non-unique attachment. That's
okay.
what it was, and Captain of the Iron Fleet is unique. So he doesn't get rid of it, and I managed to pull Cal. So this is a huge deal now.
Oh, man.
Do you understand how big of a deal that is?
It is a huge deal.
King's Landing goes away illegally, which is crap. So he would have drawn into Dragon Pit and Sirio. Keep in mind on the next 2 King's Landing things.
Man.
So would that have helped him?
Probably.
We'll see how big of a deal it would have been. But most importantly, getting Cal out of the hand means that he doesn't get a 2-claim military or power challenge.
Power,
here.
most importantly.
Think about it. I mean, if I hadn't pulled Cal there, he would have just done a military and intrigue challenge here, put Cal in for the power challenge.
GG.
And that's it.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's
a big
unbelievable that was the pull there. It's actually unbelievable, and Zach's got to be thinking that's unreal. Unreal. So that leaves us. Now, remember, I still have Rhaenys Hill. So I'm always kind of baying for, hey, dude, I may be using this. If he comes on a 2-claim military challenge, do I have to use it in that instance? Hard to say.
Probably.
It really is hard to say, but I would rather not lose 2 characters, and if it can prevent that, probably going to do it. Tough choices, man, but getting that Cal is such a big deal.
Yeah, it makes up for him pulling that Seasick out of your hand so early in the game.
Absolutely. And misplay on the Iron Fleet really is killing me right now watching this. So I'll go ahead and drop Rhaenys.
Boom.
Because I would also like to get a military challenge, looks like.
But we have a Valor coming next turn, right?
We assume that we do have a Valor coming.
Okay. So what made you go ahead and pop it now as opposed to during the Valor?
I don't know. Main thing is that Zach, I don't know. He used to not run Valor in this deck, so I don't know that it's coming. And they go back to Dead Pile at the end of the turn anyway. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I've got anything up my sleeve. So I get the unopposed challenges that I need. That's going to pump me up to 10 power, which actually puts me in the running. And we'll see if he does indeed drop Valor or not. Yeah. We actually know, because we have the hand cam, that he does have Valor. So I've got to have an answer for it. Probably not the best time to drop Rhaenys. I remember there were some talks that we were having about how this was going to resolve. I know we had the 2 influence open, and I was really just so nervous about him winning with a power challenge. So Fear of Winter against Valor. Right?
That is a great play.
Yep.
Great play.
Against Burn, this is one of my absolute favorite tools. Fear of Winter shuts down a ton of their tricks. You can't play any card from your hand, only one, and the influence pay still counts. Now you'll notice Zach's hand. Imagine right now that he draws into Dragon Pit off of the King's Landing standing, and then he's going to draw into Sirio and whatever the other first card is here. He'll draw into Sirio and a Dragon Skull. So we got to ask ourselves, is Sirio going to make the difference here?
Maybe.
Hard to say. Yep. Hard to say.
I mean, you have initiative, so that's a big deal anyway with 2 claims. So it's hard to imagine that he could have come back from that, even with somebody out on the board, or even 2.
And you'll notice, look who pops into my hand. My absolute favorite character showing up at the absolute right time. Theon Greyjoy.
Post Valor.
3 strength, post Valor. Summer is up, so he's going to be able to stand himself or other Greyjoy characters. I've got to hope that he doesn't get burnt down. I don't have to worry about claim.
Yeah.
But that is my 1 card. So does Zach have a -3 strength kill effect card?
A Flame Kissed, and then his tourney ground.
His tourney grounds, yep.
So we'll see. We'll see what he does.
That would do it. And I remember that he was thinking, he wasn't sure, how it was going to work. And he's going to potentially ambush in a Dragon Skull or something of that nature. We'll see what he does.
So he's got his money.
Big play here.
There's his Dragon Skull into shadows. Thinking about it.
And now remember, I do have Naval Escorts.
Second thoughts.
Naval Escort is going to be a big deal for me. It's going to cancel that turning ground. So again, that keeping that escort around for so long is really paying dividends.
He does go with the Dragon Skull. Big commitment. So is Steven going to remember to pump first thing? Let's hope.
Let's find out.
Because of the nature of it, you're going to have to do it 1 at a time. +1, +1, +1.
Yeah.
Because there's only 1 character out on the board. So you're thinking, what am I going to do? All right, so here it comes.
There's the +1 at least. And I don't know if I actually think to do it anymore. At this point, I kind of know the deck.
But he didn't bring out his Dragon Skull either, so...
He didn't, that's right. So I get 1 power for the unopposed... Actually, 2 power for the unopposed... I'm sorry, 3 power the unopposed power challenge. And then I get to stand him up, triggering Theon's ability in Summer, which is going to let me get another unopposed challenge, unless... Nope.
And then...
And
we'll stand up.
Dominance, unless Zach has something.
He knows it's coming.
And what a crazy, crazy game.
What a comeback. And there it is.
Yep. That's a wild game right there. So if you actually watch, we were both just completely just zoned out that game. To me, this was one of the finest Thrones games I've ever been a part of, ever played, ever lost or won. And it was just a wild ride. So hopefully you guys can see kind of what I was up to with Greyjoy Summer. You notice that getting 4 cards a turn is a big deal. Even 5 cards sometimes with that Gilly play. I think I should have lost that game ultimately. There were some misplays on both of our ends. And overall, I think that was just an outstanding game. And I think Zach's deck in that matchup is going to win probably 60 to 70% of the time. I just got really lucky here. The plots happened to work out really well, and I think that was just an outstanding game, and what a way to conclude the top 8. This was the finals match, and look at the hand cams. You can actually see Zach's perspective of me at this point, and we'll actually cut to my perspective of Zach, which is
he was just stunned. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Great faces.
So yeah, I mean that pretty much sums up the game, honestly. I'm in a bit of a state of disbelief. We're both kind of just spaced out. But Zach knows he should have won that game. I mean, he does. He knows he should have won that game. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for watching. We'll keep up with these videos. We enjoy doing the hand cams and showing you guys a little bit more inside track on this game and the way that we're thinking and that other players are thinking. Hope you guys dug it. Of course, you can support our efforts here and what we're doing by heading over to our store, teamcovenant.com/store, checking out house packs, singles, chapter pack subscriptions. We've got all sorts of good stuff over there, and even if you play other games, we would love to have your support on any of the LCGs that we do carry. And we're just going to keep on. We've got the fall top 8 coming very soon. That will all be recorded here in the next couple weeks. We've got our big top 8 event at the store. I think actually this week, as of the time of this recording, is our final top 8 qualifier. It's going to be a big one. I think neither Zach or I have qualified so far, so It should be a brand new cast. If not, one of us can squeak in this week. And this is the Game of Thrones, I think, at its finest.
There's a lot of sharks looking, though, for this top 8. Everybody is like, oh my gosh, there's only one more slide. Let's see if we can sneak in there. But yeah, should be a good time. Thanks for watching and giving us all your support. It really means a lot to us.
All right, guys, take care and keep playing Thrones. It's great stuff.
Peace.